Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to build an automatic honey and honeycomb farm for your Minecraft world. This design uses dispensers to collect the honey or honeycomb using water bottles or shears. Before we get into the tutorial, these are some of the resources that you'll be required to use to build this honey or honeycomb farm. First of all, I recommend building this farm in the nether or the end, as in those dimensions the bees will work non-stop. If you choose to build this in the overworld, the farm will still run but will be less efficient due to bees sleeping at night. For the sake of the video though, I'm going to build mine in the overworld. To harvest beehives, you will need a silk touch pick, and you will also need to wait until night time until all the bees enter the hive, and then you can begin to harvest it. To kickstart this tutorial off, we're going to start by placing a double chest right here. To the right of the double chest, we're going to place 8 hoppers in a line, making sure the hopper is connected correctly to the chest. Now that we've done that, we can go ahead and jump on top and place 8 hoppers on top of the other hoppers. We're now going to come behind this chest and place a temporary block right here and then build 2 more out. We can now remove this temporary block right here and we can bring this row all the way to the very end of the last hopper. Just like this. Jumping on top of our hoppers, we're going to place comparators facing this way all the way along, so you should have 8. We can now place our redstone in front of those comparators. Jumping back over to our hoppers, we're going to shift, right click, place our block and make it 2 blocks high. We can now bring this all the way along to the very end as well. Coming to the rear of our farm right here, we're going to shift, right click again and place a block right here. And we're going to bring this all the way along as well. Grabbing our glass and our building blocks, we're going to place a building block there and a piece of glass right there. We can now bring the glass all the way along to the very end as well as the building blocks. On these 3 blocks up here and the one down below, we're going to place redstone dust. We want to do this all the way along on every single block. Coming to the very front of our farm, we're going to place 8 dirt blocks in front of the hoppers. We can now place a temporary block right here, jump up on top, and then place another temporary block right here. We now want to shift, right click, and place our dispenser facing downwards, so the very hole of the dispenser is facing the hopper. We can now go along and do this another 7 times. We can now go ahead and remove this block. Jumping back on top of our dirt blocks, we're going to place a temporary block right here, followed up by a top slab. We can now remove this temporary block and place another top slab all the way along to the very end. You should know that these top slabs are temporary. What it does is it stops the bees from coming out of their hive. So we now want to place the remaining beehives all the way along, making sure that the exit is right there. So on these beehives, you can see these 2 holes up above and down below, and that's how the bees enter and exit the hive. With the crafted beehives, they work the same way. Grabbing our glass again, we're going to go ahead and place a piece of glass there, there, and there. We can now wrap it all the way around the front of the top slabs and then all the way back. We're now going to remove this block right here, and then we're going to place trapdoors all the way along, and what this does is it stops the enderman from taking the dirt blocks. Especially if you're in the end, you'll really want to do this. Jumping back on top now, we're going to place hoppers facing into these dispensers. We can now go ahead and place 2 temporary blocks on top of each other and then place a hopper facing into that piece of glass. We can now remove these pieces of glass and we can bring these hoppers all the way along to the very end. With our last remaining chest, we can now place it on top of this hopper. This will be the input for our glass bottles or our shears, depending on what you want to harvest. If you want to harvest honeycomb, all you need to do is put shears into the dispensers. Also, feel free to fill your dispenser with shears. Now, if you want to harvest honey, you are going to want to fill your entire dispenser with glass bottles. Basically, what this means is you can't have an empty slot, otherwise this will break the farm. So whether you have one glass bottle in each, it doesn't matter as long as you have every slot filled in the dispenser. However, I recommend filling these up to the maximum 64 required, if you have the glass of course. If you're building this in the overworld, you can simply wait until night time to remove your slabs, and then what you can do is place your flowers. As you can see, once it becomes daytime, the bees start to harvest some pollen from the flowers and begin putting it into their beehives, which is then eventually picked up by our shears or our water bottles. However, if you are in the end or the nether, the bees will not stop working, so once you remove these slabs, they will hop out of their beehives. So what you will need to do is remove the top slabs and then jump down below. Once you've removed your slabs, you will then want to jump up one block and then hold right click on top of the hopper. As you can see, you can place the flowers from down below. And as you can see, the bees will now start collecting pollen and put it into their beehives. Another side tip I highly recommend to do is make sure your bees are fully grown before you let them out. If you have a baby bee inside of the hives, I recommend waiting until it's fully grown up, as sometimes the baby bees can escape through the little gaps. I should also note that you can build as many of these as you would want in a line. It doesn't necessarily need to be 8, it can be 16, it can be 14, it can be whatever you want. So that is how you build an automatic honey and honeycomb farm in Minecraft. If you found this video useful, it would mean a lot to me if you could leave a like on the video, and if you want to see some more videos just like this one, be sure to subscribe. I should also mention that this is an Mango design, so be sure to go check out his channel, the link will be in the description. So thank you so much for tuning into this video. A special thanks to my Patreons. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!